welcome to lecture 51. In this lecture we are going to discuss the element of the city image. Remaining the 2 weeks lectures, we are going to discuss the various aspects of the competencies required at the individual level and the organization level. So far we have discussed various aspects of the urban governance and the management aspect, but there are some element which is required at the individual level to develop the skills and competency. Now, to discuss all those competencies and skills, let us discuss what is the city image and how we perceive a city, and what is the image we make in our mind, and how a image of a city matters for the city's growth and prosperity. So, in this lecture we are going to discuss basically the concept and the definitions of the city image, then some theoretical framework of the city image, past and present, and how city image can be made through a index and how it can be used for the purpose for the further progress. Now, for the concept and the definition, let me show you some pictures first and then we will discuss. Now, see this picture. This is a bird's eye view or the top view of a city taken from our country. I hope some of you have guessed the name of the city, and the city is, the predominant color of this city is blue, and it is the city of Jodhpur in Rajasthan. So, people call it Jodhpur. In another terms, people call it Jodhpur is also known for the fort and the history, but the color of the general built up areas shows that it is a blue city. Then I hope you know that the pink city Jaipur. Jaipur is known as pink city. Predominant color of the building is as a pink city. It is also a historical city. So, building the city can be known by the outsiders as per the color or as per the built quality of the built environment. Then this is a very common picture. The city could be known as by its landmark also. So, this is the city of Delhi. Sometimes we see the Qutub Minar as the identity of the city, as a landmark. So, this kind of architectural remains, architectural elements also, iconic architectural elements also used for a city landmarks. Not only that, like you know this building, this is the Victoria Memorial of city of Calcutta. So, and again an architectural masterpiece is also used for depicting a city identity. So, city is known by the external people by the architectural element also. This is the typical known skyline of city of Mumbai. You know that this is the gateway of India and the Taj Hotel complex. Together we see this as a identity of the Mumbai. Sometimes we see the city of Mumbai as a city of slums also, city of fantastic riverfront development also. So, there could be various aspects of the city development which makes a city identity or the image. Now, see this picture. This is from some Japanese country. You can see that the city is having the place for the workers. People are working with freedom for their work or education purpose. So, city of workability, city of people. Then I think you know this term also, city beautiful. To make the city beautiful by making fantastic roadways, fantastic green areas, and in India also the city of Chandigarh was made based on city beautiful concept to make fantastic roads and define neighborhoods, green corridors, identified iconic buildings, architectural masterpieces, all those. And not only that, apart from the iconic buildings or the architectural building, all the general characters of the building like pink city or the blue city, there could be elements like this. I hope some of you at least know that. You can see that this city is known for their cyclists, the city of Amsterdam, where people with freedom they use the cycle, and you can see the scale of the using of the cycle, how huge it is, and definitely the number of cars is so less. So, city of cycle, city of movement, city of people, city of Amsterdam. This is another identity or the image what we get when you visit this city. Then now I show some of the quotations about the city, how people perceived city. So, this is one quotation, the city is what is to be because our citizens are what they are. So, it is the citizen which makes the image of the city, we perceive city through the interaction of the citizens. Next is city is not a concrete jungle, it is the human zoo. So, therefore, again the focus is on human, that is the people who are living in the city. And also there are contemporary comments like this, I think delights know how to party, but Kolkata has people who know how to celebrate. So, these are few examples how people perceived cities based on their own perception, but the thing is that this perception sometimes are personal, individual, and this perception can be based on the physical environment, built environment, architectural elements, streets or everything. Apart from that, there could be other elements like that how you are perceiving a service, how you are getting a good behavior from the city people or the organization or the particular service provider. So, those kind of elements are also involved in the city image. So, city image is basically the experience of the common people when we experience a city, that is and based on that we make a mental image or mental perception of that particular city when we come back from the city, that is called the city image. But definitely the identity of the city is the basically the definition of the city in shorter form, which is known by the outside people and that is little different from the city image concept. So, this theoretical basis of the city image started long back with the great scholar like Kevin Lynch, who first propagated the idea of the image of the city, and to explain the concept of the image of the city he propagated that when we walk through the city, when we see the city, when we experience the city public spaces, basically we see or we identify or we keep in our mind few elements, and those elements make a image of the city. Those images are given like this. First is the paths. Paths means basically the walkways, the cycle tracks, the carriageways, the MRTS or red line tracks, all the paths which is basically giving you the circulation tracks, those are giving a first time impression of your city when we experience or walk through the city. Second is the edges. Edges is basically the junction point of two elements. So, whenever path is basically circulation and edges is the junction between two surfaces. For example, if this is the road and this is the building, we can see this edges of the building or these edges of the building, or if there is another area like this, we can see these edges, these edges. So, every edges defines a three dimensional view of the city and it makes a image of the city. The next point is that districts. Districts are basically homogeneous built settlement which creates a permanent impression of a particular place. So, basically the districts make a impression of place, edges makes the impression of lines, and paths makes the impression of a circulation. And then further it is the nodes which makes the further impression. When we walk along the streets, we make the intersection. So, how the nodes are designed. So, intersection, how a nodes between the water track and another road is done. So, this kind of nodes are also important in making mental image of a city. Then the landmarks are the iconic structure mainly iconic structures which make our mind to identify that some particular space. For example, earlier we have shown the Qutub Minar or some other architectural iconic building, those creates the landmark for the city. So, path, edges, districts, nodes and landmark, these are physical phenomenon which makes permanent impression in your mind when you experience a city. But the question is it the only the physical phenomenon which makes the impression of the city in your mind? It may not be. There are various other aspects, like there could be social, cultural, even the governance factors which matters and which makes a permanent impression in your mind also. But yes, these fundamental elements, past, age, districts, nodes and landmark, fundamental elements which is propagated by the scholar Kevin Lynch is fundamental element to make the impression of a city image. Then the salient questions which come in your mind, that is it only physical or there are other elements like social, cultural elements in making city image. And not only that, is the governance linked with the image? Suppose you are traveling in a city and you are trying to get a better law and order service or a better public service in terms of the transportation or the city services. So, what is your experience about getting their services? So, it is the governance which is working in background or for providing that particular essential service what you are experiencing. So, governance is also linked with the city services. Then which are the beautiful element, which are the ugly element, which is non-functional, can you differentiate? Which are the useful element, which are requires for modification and the upgradation or augmentation, which function or feature etc. identify with the city. So, these are the salient questions you should keep in your mind to think about this image of your own city. So, therefore, in short, it is not only physical, it can be physical, social, cultural, economical and governance factor. And based on that, it is also important to identify what is beautiful, what is the asset, what is the strength of your city and what is not so good, which could be modified, which could be revised, which could be enhanced. So, those kind of questions are relevant for the city image. Then therefore, the constituents are physical, social, economic, institutional and governance. These four constituent is very important for the city image. Now, how city image matters? Now, please see this diagram which I showed earlier when we discussed the smart city concept. In the smart city concept, we discussed that there are social, physical, institutional and economic infrastructure, and based on that there are few important elements like quality of life, investment opportunity, economic activities and employment opportunities. Now, these four elements are basically in this diagram is acting as a superstructure, and this four element is basically a foundation of city image. So, based on this foundation, based on this quality of this social, physical, institutional, economic, all this phenomenon, we create a quality of life, we attract the investment, we create the employment and we develop the economic activities, and more the economic activities, more the investment, more the employment opportunities, more the quality of life, it is the good for the city population and good for the outsider also. You have seen that in many cities, before I talked about the city of Curitiba, where the city mayor was a urban planner and he made all this possible improvement in the city image, and based on now Curitiba is known as one of the greatest city in the world. Similarly, there are various great cities where they have built upon their strength and made the city image and the city identity so nice that people are visiting their place, contributing their economy, setting up industries, factories, creating the job, contributing in their revenue augmentation, and ultimately it is helping them to improve the quality of life of the city citizens. So, those are the advantage of the city image. If the city image is better, city has a brand identity in the outside world better, so city can attract better investment and better employment opportunity. So, that is why the city image matters to you also. Now, based on this theoretical basis, we can do a systematic assessment of city image. Now, worldwide there are various approach and methods to assess the city image by which a city is marked or ranked or given the some kind of scoring criteria. In India, we have done during the smart city project some city livability index. You just see this diagram. In this livability index, it is based on 4 parameters like institutional, social, economic and physical. So, we are not calling it as directly as a city image, but we are calling it as a livability index. Therefore, but definitely livability index will represent the quality of the city, that means the how far the city offers a better quality to the citizens of that city. So, based on this benchmark you can see some indicators like governance, culture, education, health, safety, security, economic index. In the physical there could be housing and inclusiveness, open space, mixed use, energy, mobility, water index, wastewater index, solid waste index, pollution index. So, physical part is predominant. So, there could be some weightage. You can see that weightage of physical is 45%, followed by institutional and the social 25 each, and followed by economic weightage which is 5%. Now, this weightage can vary time to time based on some different assessment tool, but here they have taken this kind of weightage factor. Now, please see that what kind of livability index your city has. Now, I am not telling that this kind of index are the supreme or the final statement on the city quality of life, but definitely the whenever there is a index prepared at the national level or international level and it is done based on some actual data and actual benchmark, definitely it carries some meaning and it represents and conveys some meaning. So, why not we take the advantage of those scoring and the indexes, so that our city gets the maximum investment and maximum potential, maximum attraction in terms of the business. So, that is the main message. So, based on this conceptual framework they have made various indicators like this. Indicators. So, this is institutional indicators. You can just have a look how they have targeted or mentioned. So, percentage of the citizen service. So, percentage of the services integrated with the command center, that is the central organization, using the online services, average delay, then tax collection percentage, extent of the cost recovery, capital expenditure, and percentage of the population covered under ward committee and area sabha. So, these indicators may change time to time, but based on that some indicators are compulsory, some are optional. So, those kind of variations in the indicators are also made, so that people can improve based on the indicator. I am not showing all the indicators, just one set of indicators I have shown for the institutional. Earlier I have shown the basic other indicators. So, you can have a look. I will share the document with you. So, to summarize, the basic points are that we can make scientific, useful, functional, logical, economic services for present as well as future to make the city beautiful, so that the citizens, the people who are working in the city, they can have a better quality of life, they can enjoy, they can feel beautiful, and also at the same time city is perceived by the other people and can be identified by the other people as a beautiful city, as a green city, as a clean city, like that. And next is each services should be in harmony with the surroundings and other services. It is not only building and the roads, it is the service, it is the essential service and the governance which also matters. So, essential service should improve the quality of life and the livability of the city, and not at the cost of the environment and the surrounding. That is what is required to improve the city image. Each service must be considered sympathetically with the users and the environment. So, whenever there are conflicting services, so we have to integrate them sympathetically and with the users and the environment. Environment is very important, because city will grow definitely, and with the growth of the city population we have to take new and new land. So, how we can convert those land in a beautiful city built environment without making the polluted areas or without affecting the existing environment, that is important. And also images cannot be imposed, but it emanates. Now, we cannot create an image in one day, it emanates time to time by creating all the relevant and the meaningful intervention, architectural fantastic building, architecturally well articulated public spaces, ensuring better citizen service, ensuring better citizens governance and essential service for the outsider as well as for the citizens. So, those are the elements, not only the physical, social, cultural and economical and governance aspect, institutional, that can create and emanates a city image from not so good to good city image. So, that is the way forward for today's lecture. So, I just summarize today's lectures. We mentioned that the city image is important because city image creates attraction of the attraction for the investor and the outsiders and the tourist, and once it makes the investors and the attraction, city gets the investment and more employment opportunity, and with that city can eliminate the poverty, city can eliminate the unemployment and also create better infrastructure to improve the quality of life. And we have told about the theoretical construct about the image of the city given by the Kevin Lynch, and then we talked about the systematic assessment of the city image which is done by the Government of India based on the Smart City Livability Index. As an example, we have seen that based on various parameters and indicators they have tried to assess the city image systematically, and this image cannot be made in one day. If we start today, definitely within few years we can enhance the city image. So, to improve the city image, it is important to and better awareness about the city governance and government people, so that they can make the citizens aware about it and can make a joint action for the improvement of the city image. So, what is your role in city image? That is the main question in improving the governance, in improving the city infrastructure, in improving the livability. So, and your role as an individual is very important in improving the city image. So, next lecture we will discuss about the essential competencies of a city manager to improve the governance, to improve the development, to improve the city image as a whole, and what are the competencies you can polish, you can practice to improve your performance and the performance of your government and to enhance the city image altogether. So, thank you very much for attending this lecture.